And for the co-main event at UFC 262, we got Tony El Kukui Ferguson coming in at 25-5, taking on Beneil Darish 20-4-1. For Benny coming in on a 6-fight win streak. Darish, good striking, good wrestling. He's all around tough dude. Good subs. He's dangerous everywhere. We have seen we have seen Oliveira out wrestle Tony in the last fight, and I seen Beneil trying to do the same thing. If he does plan to stand and bang with Tony, he may be giving Tony an edge here. And I'm not saying Darish can't win on his feet, but he should definitely look at winning positions on Tony and to try to get this win to continue that win streak. But for Tony Ferguson, my thoughts on him is his back's against the wall. I mean, Tony's a people's champ here. Everybody loves Tony, and I just think he's in a must-win situation. I'm not saying like this, if he don't win, it's going to get him cut. But I do think a win here gets him back into title contention, and then a loss kind of puts him in that Donald Cerrone space where he's just hanging on, and he's just, then he's just fighting other names like a Jim Miller type guys, And so I think this is a big one for Tony. I think he's really going to try to bring it in this fight, and I think we might see vintage Tony Ferguson this weekend. I really hope so. They have the odds with Tony at plus 140 and that Darish at minus 170. So they are giving love to Benny, as they should. I mean, he's been on a roll. But outside of those, past two fights to Gaethje, which was a freaking war, that he cut weight prior to that fight, just to do it, just because he's crazy like that, which I think was a big mistake. And then the Oliveira fight, which was, Oliveira's Oliveira. That's why he's getting the championship fight now. But I think this is a big one for Tony. He really needs this win. And I think he's gonna pull something crafty like he always does, and he's gonna get it done. What do you got?
Yeah, man, breaking this one down. Looking at it from the outside, a few weeks ago, like Tony dog odds, give me that all day. But I have to separate my fandom, my love for MMA, my love for the fighters, versus, when I'm going to part with my money, who I think's going to win, who's going to bring me my money back, And on this one, I can't shake it, man. I can't separate the fandom on this one. So, buyer beware. I'm a Tony Ferguson fan. I've always been a Ferguson fan. So this might sound like bias coming forward, or it might be a real take on it. But the first variable that I'll go over is Tony, right? So his last fight that worried me, it wasn't the performance more or less, it was the physical. He looked physically older than he's ever looked, right? Like in the face, he looked wrinkled. Like it looked like an older Tony Ferguson. That right there was a huge red flag for me. And going into it, he did get just, out-grappled by a smaller Charles Oliveira. Oliveira is a great submission artist, so he, that maybe there were some traps that he was laying, and then, Tony just succeeded to his back because he knew those traps were there. And they were, something that we couldn't see there. But Tony did stay out of trouble. He did get caught in a deep armbar, which he fought through. And to take away from it, man, like he said, he cut weight, multiple times for the Ferguson or for the Gaethje fight, coming off of beatings 8 months later, taking on Oliveira. It just wasn't a good look all around. He wasn't training with anybody. This is all what he said, right? And this is what the fandom in me is kind of believing in. So take it what you want, but I take it for his word. And, coming into this fight, he actually has more training partners. He employed Freddie Roach. I believe GSP was over there working with him too. So there's a lot more going into this. It's not just Tony being all crazy at his little camp, rolling on fucking medicine balls. He's actually went out there and employed people to, get back. Tony lost already two in a row. So you think he's going to lose 3 in a row? That man's he's going to be fucking livid if he loses 3 in a row. The comeback who he's fighting on is Benny. Benny's a great fighter in his own right. But the only thing about Benny is that fucking concerns me is the man gets hit and he's chinny. Well, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't say chinny. We throw that word out a lot. He gets hit and he gets rocked very often by people who aren't very heavy power punchers, like a Dakar Close. I had Dariush in that one inside the distance, and it cashed for me, and I was happy about it. But before that initial sequence where he, put Close down, he was getting rocked himself. And I feel like if Tony shows anything, in an exchange like he did with Gaethje versus Dariush, he'll fucking win that exchange every time. He dropped Gaethje with a huge uppercut, and Gaethje got back up. You think Dariush is getting up from something like that? Hell no. He's getting hit with that and sub quick. He's getting cut up with some elbows or something. So, yeah, this is more or less just me pumping up Tony, I guess. But man, I like Dariush on the flip side. It's just that every time he's had the chance, he's failed. And more or less recently, he's been fighting, lower level guys. Scott Holtzman, Dakar Close, Frank Camacho. Drew Dober's a great win. Diego Ferreira was a great win. That was a split decision. Some people thought Ferreira won. And in that fight, Benny showed that he could, have heavy top control and just grind out a few rounds. And what happened last week or last fight with Tony? He got grounded out a few rounds versus Oliveira. The reason why I don't think those two are the same, though, is because of the submission threat Oliveira is presenting versus Dariush is just sitting there on top, just heavy on top with just a lot of control. So I don't see those two being the same. But let's just go back to his last loss against Alex Hernandez. Knocked out. The Drew Dober fight, rocked. The Dakar Close fight, rocked. The if I'm not mistaken, the Scott Holtzman fight, rocked. He did end up getting the first round knockout towards the end of the round, but he did get rocked. So we're talking about rocked from these lower level guys, right? Dober's not a lower level. He should be top 10. Top 15 at worst. But, yeah, these guys. You give me a shot on the stand-up against Tony with this guy, man, I just don't. At dog money at that, I just don't see how... I don't see how everybody's rushing to bet Benny on this one. It's more or less... I don't know, man. If you're on the Benny side, I would try to find a more better way to play it than just Benny. I mean, Benny by decision.
Yeah.
I guess if you're on that side, but other than that, I don't see him subbing Tony. I don't see him knocking Tony out. I don't see none of that, man. I see it on the flip side. I see Tony going out there and getting a fucking knockout, or a knockout either way. Drop him and then sub him, or, club and sub, whatever you want to call it. But either way, I don't know how Tony's going to lose this fight, but I don't see it happening.
It's just what Tony's going to show up, and we're hoping it's El Kukui, and he's back to being himself and getting back to his winning ways. So it looks like we're both on Tony on this one, and there's going to be a banger of a co-main event. It's going to be good to see Tony with the fans. I think that's going to be an extra little jolt that's going to help him out. So he hasn't won when the fans wasn't there. So I think that might have something to do
undefeated with fans.
He's been smashing people with fans. So let's see. But I do like Tony in here.